Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this comic book thing, whatever I end up calling it. I don't actually have physical comics to show you. I didn't go shopping this time, but I have been reading a lot of comics, a lot of really cool comics I've been releasing recently that I wanted to go over. So here I go. I read a lot of DC, but I did want to start with this one Marvel thing that I read. So it's a couple years old at this point, but it's called Cosmic Ghost Rider. If you know anything about Ghost Rider, it starts out as your typical Ghost Rider story, and then a few things happen that sort of twist the Ghost Rider formula, and it really makes for a great story. And I couldn't recommend it enough, but in my opinion, you should not buy the Ghost Rider, like Cosmic Ghost Rider volume. That's just 1 through 5. Instead, you should buy Thanos by Donny Cates. The entire Cosmic Ghost Rider story is within that. So if you read Thanos by Donny Cates, you get the entire Thanos wins arc, and you meet Cosmic Ghost Rider in that, and then you get reintroduced to him, and then you start his story in his 5-issue Cosmic Ghost Rider run. So rather than getting just the 5 issues of Cosmic Ghost Rider, I would say hold out and get the Thanos by Donny Cates book, because not only are all 5 issues in there, but you get the entire Cosmic Ghost Rider story, which, if I may, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's really, really good. So next up, and for probably most of the rest of the video, I want to talk about Future State. Now that Death Metal is over, we are moving on to Future State, which is 10 to 12, maybe even 20 different comic runs that are going to be only 2 issues long. That is going to bridge the gap in between Death Metal and Infinite Frontier. So essentially, Future State is just look at all these different timelines that could happen. And I haven't read all of them. Like I said, there's a lot, and some of them are expensive. Some of them are like $8 or $9 for 50 pages, which is kind of a lot. But yeah, so I haven't been reading all of them, but I have been reading some of them. I wanted to start with Teen Titans, because for the first time ever since the Teen Titans Cartoon Network TV show, the character Red X, he's the character that worked for Slade, and then you don't know what happens to him, and then he comes back, but it's Robin and all that stuff. He is finally comic canon, so he is in Future State Teen Titans, and it seems like based on Infinite Frontier key art that character is going to stick around, so that's very cool. Now I want to talk about Future State Justice League, because this is where I think what I read of the Future State really shines. So none of the original Justice League members are in Future State Justice League. It's Jonathan Kent, who is the son of Superman and Wonder Woman. It's Yara Flor as Wonder Woman, who used to be Wonder Girl, but in this she's Wonder Woman, and she's actually Brazilian. She gets her powers from the Amazon rainforest. There's Andy Curry, otherwise known as Aqua Woman, the daughter of Aquaman and Mira. There is the Green Lantern, otherwise known as Jo Mullein. She is a black female and bisexual Green Lantern. And she actually has her own story called Far Sector that I will get into in a minute. And then there's Batman. And Batman, you don't really know who he is. They don't really tell you who he is, so I won't spoil it. But he is in fact not white. He is black, which is cool. And then, last but not least, we have Jess Chambers, otherwise known as the Flash. They are black-skinned with silver hair, and they are non-binary, so they go by they/them pronouns, which I think is the coolest thing ever. This comic doesn't... I feel like a lesser comic would take this as an opportunity to be like, let's sit down and have a talk about non-binary. So you see, kids. And this one just goes right into it. Like, it's not even a big thing. They're just... They don't even, they don't even really stop to say, oh, and they're non-binary. You just notice that the comic is using they/them pronouns. You are left to assume that they're non-binary, which is in fact the case. But they're so cool. I like them a lot. I hope that they get to continue in the comics, but I also hope that Future State Justice League as a whole gets to continue in the comics, because it was really cool. And at the end of this video, I am going to talk in detail about Future State Justice League and what happens and spoilers and stuff. So that'll be at the end. But I do want to move on to Far Sector, which is the solo comic run for the new Green Lantern. I haven't read all of it yet. I've read about 3 issues, and I think I read that it's going to be 14, and it's currently 12, something like that. If I'm wrong, it's on screen. But it's very interesting, and I recommend it. Basically, it's a cop procedural. The Green Lantern goes to this planet where no one can feel emotion. They have, like, emotion inhibitors that, like, shut off all emotion. So really the only person who can feel emotions on this planet is the Green Lantern. And the reason they do this is because there's like 3 races of aliens, and one of them like eats one of the other races, but they want to live peacefully. So they just like, their solution for that was to shut off all emotions. And they all have like really bizarre alien names. Like one of the races is like Twitter handles. Like they literally have an @ symbol and then their name, and the leader of them is called, her name is @ so her name is literally @ which is interesting. And I can only assume not a intentional Star Wars reference. But it's really cool, and I'm really liking it so far. I like this new Green Lantern. I usually don't like the Green Lantern, but this one's got a charm about her, and she's also like, I don't know, I like her a lot. She seems to be very of herself, and she seems to have quickly adapted to being a superhero. She mentions in issue 2 that she's only been Green Lantern for a year. And she was basically almost immediately assigned to this super bizarre planet with like all this bizarre name and all these bizarre customs that she had to get used to. And then I did read Future State Harley Quinn. As most of you probably know, I love Harley Quinn, and I really didn't like Future State Harley Quinn. The art style was great, right? It looked very Japanese inspired, if you will. But essentially, the comic starts and then she gets kidnapped, or not kidnapped. She gets like taken into custody by another Batman character who I will not spoil. And then she basically spends the entire 2-issue run just working for this guy to stop another Batman villain. And it kind of just like is barely about Harley, even though it's called Future State Harley Quinn. And at the end, something really cool like almost happens, and then it just like doesn't. The cool thing that happens that I'm trying not to spoil, it almost seemed like they were setting up like this is what's going to happen if Future State Harley Quinn gets picked up, and then it just was like, never mind, we're not doing that. And I was just like, oh, okay. But yeah, I really didn't like Future State Harley Quinn that much. Next up, I wanted to talk about Neil Gaiman's Norse Mythology. So Neil Gaiman, of course, probably most well known for writing the Sandman series, is doing an ongoing run of short stories. Some of them are like only like 2 or 3 pages long, of his interpretation of Norse mythology. I'm sure a lot of you know by now I really love Norse mythology, and I've been reading his run of this, and I really, really like it. I like the art. The art is like very traditional. I don't know how else to put it. It's not like very like, I don't know. It doesn't look like other comic books. It looks like the art style fits the subject matter, and I like it a lot. And it's interesting to see his interpretation, because based on his other works, it's clear that Norse mythology and, you know, other things of the sort are definitely in his interest. And last, before I do a quick deep dive into Future State Justice League, I want to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. So this is a 4-issue run, which currently only has 1 issue and has since like November. They're going to do them like every 4 months or something like that. I think the next one comes out in March. So these 4 issues are going to be coming out for a while, unfortunately. But The Last Ronin is essentially 3 of the Ninja Turtles are dead, and there's 1 left, and he has all the weapons, and they don't reveal which one it is. And he's kind of going on like his own little like mission of revenge or whatever. And it's really cool. It's a really cool concept. Sometimes Ninja Turtles do some like spin-off-y, non-canonical type things. Like the most recent they released was something called Shredder Goes to Hell, which is also on my list But The Last Ronin in concept really intrigued me, and the first issue left a good taste in my mouth. I'm looking forward to more. So that'll do it. If you don't want spoilers on Justice League Future State, you can click off now. Thank you for watching. But I want to talk about Justice League Future State because it was just so cool and it made me so happy. So it starts out with the Legion of Doom, and the Legion of Doom are like all these cool characters that are like all different because it's an alternate, Earth and timeline and stuff. And they're talking about how they're going to stop the Justice League. Cut to the Justice League, and they find the Legion of Doom, and they're all dead. And they're like, what gives? Why are they all dead? Who did this? But there's a big emphasis on them not socializing or like fraternizing. They really don't want the last Justice League, the Justice League we all know and love with Clark Kent and, Bruce Wayne and all them. We're like a family, and they're trying to avoid that because they think it's a weakness. And then towards the end of issue 1, they all get kidnapped by these people who look just like them. Come to find out, those people are white Martians. They look like them because white Martians can shapeshift just like green Martians, but they trap them on the planet that they were trapped on, which is basically like another Earth that's just like super destroyed and desolate and filled with lava and stuff. They come back, they, defeat them. They have a little moment before they come back where they like share a thing about each other so that they can tell who's who while they're fighting the like clone versions. And then they beat them. Like I said, it's really short. It's only 2 issues. And the Future State Justice League shared half of its pages with Future State Justice League Dark, which I didn't even mention. It's also good, but for different reasons. So they come back, they defeat them all, and then they decide that they want to be a family some more, and reveal their secret identities and stuff. And then it kind of cuts to like, I think a month later or 2 months later, something like that. You find out that not only have they all revealed their secret identities, even Batman, who, if I may, turns out to be Tim Fox, the estranged son of Lucius Fox, who now goes by Jace instead of Tim Fox for some reason. But they also make Green Lantern the leader, which made me so happy, because if you know anything about the Justice League, the leader is always either Superman or Batman. And now the leader of the Justice League, at least for this one issue of comic history, we have a black, female, bisexual Green Lantern leader of the Justice League, practically like the queen of all superheroes. And that made me really happy. And it sounds like, nothing's been confirmed yet, but it's sounding like Future State Justice League might get picked up for a series, which I would be so happy, because I've never really loved Justice League, and I did not expect Future State Justice League to be the breakout, the one that I really liked out of the Future State stuff that I read. But I really liked it, and I think a lot of people will. And I think a lot of people would like it if it was picked up for a series. So, that'll do it for me. That was just a little, comic book check-in. I think I might do these every 2 months. I think that sounds like a good idea. And if I'll try to go shopping in time for the next one. But it is, hard to get out and go into the world nowadays. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We have other stuff on this channel. We've got Dr. Payne, which is sort of a variety product review show that we make with our friend Emery. We've got podcasts, Let's Plays, and we're streaming on Twitch now. So every Sunday at 5, you can catch us live on Twitch. This Sunday it'll just be me, chilling, hanging out, maybe doing some Animal Crossing stuff. Who knows? But this Friday at 5, Chris and I will be starting our playthrough of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game. So tune into that. And until next time, I've been Thunder. Stay safe, stay clean, and we'll see you next time.